Muted. I'm muted. I have about 1 hour to read. So we're gonna read a little bit. I realize the music has been muted. Yeah, sorry. All right, we got about 1 hour. We got 1 hour. Let me resend this thing because it's not popping up on OBS. Okay. And I think we logged in. Yes, we logged in. I literally just logged in. Oh, what chapter are you on? Oh, you hit 700. That's what's up, dude. Good shit, dude. Thank you. Thank you for watching the videos, man. All right, we got 1 hour to read before I have to go out. So we're going to take it nice, chill, and slow. And I'm finishing volume 5 this coming week. I don't know how we're going to do it. But we got to read at least 5 chapters Monday to Friday. That's 25 chapters. And if we can split the last 25 chapters between Saturday and Sunday, like 10-ish each, I think we should be able to finish volume 5 by next week. I think we're gonna make it work. I think we're gonna be able to squeeze in that finale. All right, let me adjust the volume. You promise to finish it? I think I can do it. If I can do 5 chapters every day, Monday to Friday, and split the last 25 chapters between Saturday and Sunday, I think we should be able to finish it. Most likely, we're gonna finish Sunday. I probably won't be able to finish on Saturday because I am gonna go out on Saturday night. But I think Sunday I should be able to, like a week from today. Well, let's see. If Milosh, what's the last chapter for volume 5? It's like 1,150, right? I don't know. Do you know exactly how many chapters I have left? Because I'm at 1,103. I think I have like about 50 left. 1,000. Oh shit. Okay, so 1,150 flat. Okay, yeah. I think we should be able to do it this week. If we can do 5 Monday to Friday, minimum, I think we'll be good. I think we'll be able to finish by Sunday. And then if I can do this right now and then get back, maybe do like 3 to 5 more, I think we'll be good. I think we might be good. 47, I think we can do it, Milosh. I'm feeling confident. I think we can do it. That being said, let's do this. We're gonna go straight in. What's up, hello? What's up, hello? What's up, username? We're gonna finish volume 5 a week from today. We are gonna finish. I promise you guys this. We are finishing volume 5 by next Sunday. All right, we're gonna finish by next Sunday. I'm gonna read 5 right now, and then I promise you, I'm gonna read 5 chapters Monday to Friday. Oh, but I have to do the Dunghua react. No, it doesn't matter. We're gonna do the Dunghua reaction and 5 chapters on Friday, so I think we'll be able to do it. And then we'll be able to split the last 20-ish chapters between Saturday and Sunday. I think we can do it. I think we can do it. I think we can finish by next weekend. That being said, if you like what you guys are going to see, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you turn off restricted mode, because apparently YouTube is turning on restricted mode for a lot of people. So a lot of people actually aren't getting videos. It's actually wild that they did that, man. And they're using AI to kind of determine that. It's wild that they did that. I don't know, man. I feel like parents should be more responsible for their children using YouTube. You know, like, I don't know why you gotta leave it to AI to restrict and like drop viewership by like half for like other content creators. It's kind of wild, but you know what? I'm not YouTube, so I don't know what they're thinking. That being said, chapter 1,103. Sure, buddy. All right, let's keep reading. Let's keep reading, man. Let's see how far we can get today. Well, I mean, we're only gonna do like 5 chapters. We have like about an hour, so I'm gonna lock in for about an hour. I do apologize if I don't read chat. I'll make sure to read chat like when we're updating chapters and all that. I got you. That way we can kind of read a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, we're gonna do 5 spaces. All right, let's keep reading. All right, chapter 1,103 is called Hint. Klein didn't actually remember if he had told the Hanged Man and the others about the Sailor Spectator, Sun Reader, and Secret Supplement pathways were interchangeable. I don't remember that either. Well, that was a reveal last night, unless he used dream divination to recall it. However, since the Hanged Man had expressed his doubts towards the Church of the Lords of Storms, it meant that he hadn't thought about the interchangeability of both paths, regardless of whether he knew it or not, or if he had yet to connect the two matters together. Klein believed that there was a need for him to explain things clearly. This allowed the members of Terror Club to grasp the true stances of the various major factions, thus letting them avoid many dangers. After the Hanged Man, Olger, and the others cast their gazes at him, he controlled the world Grim and Sprout and made him say in a low, uncertain tone, "The Storm, Sun, Spectator, Reader, and Secret Supplement pathways are neighboring pathways. Likewise for the Evernight, God of Combat, and Death. and neighboring pathways often become enemies. Of course, that's not absolute. There's also about the 7 deities have established an alliance. Upon hearing the world reply, Olger first recalled Adam pushing for the flood of times to become a god. Following that, thoughts flashed through his mind as he gained a certain level. And also, thank you for joining right away. I know I didn't even do an announcement. I was like, I can do 1 hour before I have to head out. So I was like, I didn't have time to make an announcement. Sorry, guys. So the weekends are so up in the air when I can stream. I don't know if I can stream early or like later in the afternoon. Usually, because these are like my errand days. Upon hearing the world's reply, Olger first recalled Adam pushing for the flood of the times to become a god. Following that, thoughts flashed through his mind as he gained a certain level of understanding of the Church of the Lords of Storm's current attitude. This made him feel a rather special sense of superiority and joy. It was as if he had seen the essence of the matters exceeding the level of most Beyonders in the Church of Lords of Storms. Similarly, Audrey had a brand new understanding of Inta's strange alliance since in this war, she was even more worried about the situation of Lenberg, Mason, and Singar. In addition, she also knew that she would switch to Unshadowed, Cataclysmic Interior, and the corresponding sequence for demigod of the Church of Knowledge and Wisdom she had recently met. As for the corresponding sequence for the Secret Supplement pathway, it wasn't within her considerations at all. Of course, compared to the other pathways, she still preferred Manipulator. She's like the Spectator pathway from the both of her heart. However, she also felt the deep fear towards the upper echelons of the Spectator pathway. Hyven Rambus had left a rather bad impression on her. Adam's any mention of it will be known had left her with a trauma. I'd be traumatized after that. She had no choice but to undergo self-evaluations and treat the corresponding problems from time to time. The Hermit Kalia had always been deeply knowledgeable about such matters. Apart from the information mentioned by the world of Grim and Sparrow, she also knew the Mystery Prior and Saven pathways were neighboring pathways that could be interchangeable at high sequences. It was likewise for the Arbiter and Lore pathway, the Prisoner and Criminal pathways, the Hunter and Assassin pathway, and the Planter and Apocryphy pathway. As the other members of the Terror Club dispersed their thoughts, Olger said to the world of Grim and Sparrow, "Thank you for your answer." He didn't say exactly what insights he had gleaned for an answer. In fact, for an instant, Olger wanted to leave the Church of the Lords of Storms and switch to another pathway. Really? I can't see the Terror Club members switching, dude. I only see them on their pathway. I can't see them switching. This was better than waiting for a very slim chance in the church. However, he ultimately gave up on this idea. After all, his goal for a long time was to become a cardinal of the Church of Lords of Storms. At present, he was beginning to yearn for the ranked first amongst the cardinal ranks, becoming an angel in charge of the mandated punishers or ascetics. As for the position of pontiff, Olger didn't yearn for it. This was because it was too close for the Lords of Storms. He had many secrets he kept close to his chest. If he were to be chosen as pontiff, Olger suspected that he would be smote to ashes by a lightning storm. By the Lords of Storms himself, huh? By lightning storms that descended from the sky the moment he pushed off the papal tiara. Seeing that the exchange between the world and the Hanged Man had ended, Emblem asked of curiosity, which pathway can the Apocryphy pathway be interchangeable with? Beginning from the Sanguine race made them have no thoughts of switching to other pathways, as if often means that they had to lose their identity. Therefore, Emblem wasn't too concerned about such matters. Oh, let me do this so I can scroll. The Planter pathway of the Church of the Earth Mother, Katlia answered casually. The Planter pathway passed by the Church of Earth Mother. What? He wouldn't switch to that. Emlyn frowned as he vaguely grasped something. At this moment, she'll also ask, which pathway neighbors are the Arbiter pathway? Lawyer Katlia answered simply. Oh yeah, Arbiter and Lawyer are interchangeable. That makes sense. Lawyer of the Black Emperor pathway. In other words, if I could become a Sequence 5, I would be able to switch to the Sequence 4 of the Black Emperor pathway, but that'd be dangerous. And Force had previously told Mr. Full that has the Card of Blasphemy. It contains all the secrets of the Black Emperor pathway. She'll suddenly realize that there was a glimmer of light from the future. It had to be known that the Arbiter pathway was firmly controlled by the two royal families. Even the corresponding militarily only had the potion formula for the low and mid sequences. If they wanted to advance to the Beyonder Sequence 5, they had to receive a bestowment from the royal family, just like how every general had to be confirmed by the King of Queen. Furthermore, what they obtained in the end was a concocted potion and a ritual. To Shield, this meant that it was almost impossible for her to get the Sequence 4 potion formulas for the Arbiter pathway. Of course, no matter how tightly guarded the potion formula was, there were bound to be loopholes. The military's demigod knew of the rituals, and from time to time, they would cooperate with the royal families to hunt powerful supernatural beings. They could roughly narrow down their candidates for the main ingredients to a smaller area, but this also meant that they could only confirm the formula through the repeated experiments. At the same time, the military demigods were also unable to grasp the supplementary ingredients. If they wanted to rely on the main ingredients to advance, they needed to seek out the benediction of fate. And now Shio had seen any other possibilities. Quick math, 18 chapters on Sunday If you do 5 a day, I think we can do that. I'm pretty sure we read 18 chapters last Sunday. I think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna work, Milosh. Thank you for the quick math. Thank you. I think we can do it. And I'm doing 5 chapters lightly. I think we might be able to do more, but I'm just estimating. At this moment, Audrey had already summarized for the neighboring pathways that Mr. World and Ma'am Hermit had mentioned before, thoughtfully asking, "Oh, it's gonna be good." Among the prisoner Crimson, criminal, hunter, assassin, savant, mystery prior, and monster, which ones are neighboring similar pathways? The world Gurman Sparrow glanced at the hermit and replied hoarsely, "The prisoner and criminal, hunter, and assassin." Wow, there's so many that are interchangeable. Assassin and savant and mystery prior are similar pathways that can also be interchangeable at high sequence. I remember before it was only like 2 to 3. Now over here like 5 are interchangeable. This was knowledgeable that can be confirmed by Klein. Among them, the interchangeability between prisoner and criminal was something mentioned by the Red Angel Evil Spirit, to which Miss Sharon tactfully accepted. The interchangeability between Savant and Mystery Prior had been personally demonstrated by Emperor Rizzo. As for the Hunter and Assassin, it was information that he had accumulated over time, which could finally be confirmed. What about Monster? There's only this one left. Force, who was listening, couldn't help but ask, seeing the world remain silent. Cattleya thought for a moment before saying, "It's difficult to be categorized as a neighbor. I can be sure that time. I can only say that the most fundamental order in our world's supernatural powers might be chaos and disharmony. The reason why Cattleya was certain that the monster pathway didn't have the means to be interchangeable with other pathways was because her advancement ritual required her to analyze the snake of fate's blood. I see Audrey was slightly uncomfortable with the disharmonious situation, but she quickly adjusted her state of mind. After the exchange was almost complete, all the members of the Terror Club looked at the sun. Derek, the youth said with any hesitation, "We're already set off. We're currently less than a day away from the afternoon town. When we arrive, we'll be resting for another day or two before we begin exploring the Giant King's court." The sun's words made Olger, Cattleya, and company suddenly feel like myths were entering reality. Compared to the places like the ruins of the battlefield of the gods, the Giant King's court was a symbolic entity that appeared in various legends and in different secret documents. What secret was it hiding? What was buried in it? The answer was about to be revealed. Even though they had followed the world Gurman Sparrow into the city of Miracles Livsied, which was on par with the Giant King's court, the Starland Nard and Justice Audrey were also extremely excited and looking forward to the hearing more. After all, the city of the Dragon King had imagined into existence had lost too much in the process of being transformed to Grizel's travels. There were no traces of anything of value. Apart from the building itself, there was only the Hall of the Express, the extraordinaries of the ancient myths. Furthermore, what was even more important was that Derek had mentioned that the King of Angels had come to a secret plot in the Giant King's court. As for the full Klein, he was thinking of something else. What else would he be thinking of right now? Should I get Little Sun to pray to the fool before the exploration? Then I'll use the Crimson Star and the Sea God Scepter to extend my vision to a certain distance to see that I can watch a live broadcast? Yes, in that case, if there's any accidents, I can still provide some help. The only problem is that this method, relying on the prayer points of the light for observation, cannot last too long. Oh, so it's only for like short period of time. It has nothing to do with my own spirituality. It's just that the connection will fade away within the time and last for 45 minutes at most. Let Little Sun pray every once in a while. That's under the premise that it doesn't affect his battle of attraction, the attention of people around him. In that case, my spirituality can probably last for 2 hours, if not the same level as my sequence 5. It's also because of my recent rapid digestion of the potion. After pondering for a moment, Klein didn't speak. He controlled the world Gurman Sparrow to hint to the sun. Before exploring the Giant King's court, you can pray to Mr. Full and pray for good luck. In the process, you can also pray many times. Mr. World really is a nice guy. After Derek sincerely thanked him, he hurriedly turned his body towards the end of the long mottled table. Then he saw Mr. Fool, who was enveloped by the gray-white fog, nod slightly. Next chapter. 1104 is called Contradiction. All right, what do we got in store? Derek? I know. I definitely mispronounced that one. All right, let's do timestamp. Let's keep reading. We got to knock out at least 5 chapters today. We need to at least knock out 5 chapters before I have to head out and get ready. Let's do this. We got to go straight into it. Check my phone. No text messages yet. No, we're good. What's my battery at? Oh, shit. Hold on, I'm texting my girl right now, just so we're on track with what we have to leave in like 2 hours. We just gotta make sure we have everything planned out. That's why I was like, I can do until the end of this hour, and then I think we're good. Chapter 1104 is called Contradiction. The world above the gray fog had been restored to its state of silence, as though the gathering had just ended with an illusion. Klein bent his finger and lightly knocked on the edge of the long model table. He made the pages of Roselle's diary, which Katlia had just given, appear once again. Amidst the indescribable stillness, Klein cast his gaze towards the first paragraph of the first page with a solemn expression. 27th September, I saw Miss how do you pronounce his name? Miss Ithaca? Miss Ithaca? Once again, I have a nerve-wracking and thrilling but sufficiently wonderful experience with her. As expected, I prefer women of this age. I'm not just reminiscing about my youth, but rather that I haven't changed after so many years. I'm really dedicated. I read your diary with such seriousness, and you're giving me this. The corners of Klein's mouth twitched as he lampooned at the emperor who had only seen a portrait of. He immediately gathered his thoughts and shifted his gaze. In a lounge of the basement of St. Simon Cathedral, after Leonardo Mitchell opened his eyes, he deliberated for a moment and said in a low voice, "Old man, the secret orders are told seem to be in Backland." In his mind, the slightly aged voice quickly sounded, "Indeed." Upon hearing this, Leonard immediately asked, "Old man, are you familiar with that Zartol? Didn't you say that the Zaras family and the Zartol family are both important nobles of the Solomon Empire?" From his point of view, as ex-colleagues and former comrades in arms, how could old man not be familiar with Zartul? Well, I mean, even some people didn't know of Zartul. That was mentioned earlier. Palazrat scoffed. "I'm familiar with the Zartul who died in the War of the Four Emperors. The one who's alive now should be his descendant. I might or might not have seen him before." Sigh, the Zartul back then had already obtained clues regarding the second Sequence 1 bionic characteristic from the true creator. He was waiting for the War of the Four Emperors to end before searching for it. If he succeeded, he would be considered a king of angels. He would be considered a king of angels? Unfortunately, in the War of the Four Emperors, he directly encountered the existence from the Antigonus family, who could be known as the half-fool? What? What the fuck is this title? The Half-Fool. What is it? The Half-Blood Prince over here? That's a badass title, dude. The Half-Fool. And Bethel Abraham was also involved. Oh my, that sounds so badass. I can already see like his face is like half and half. The Half-Fool and Bethel Abraham was also involved. He could appear anywhere, anytime. If he hadn't been quickly banished and sealed by Evernight and Storm, I might not have been able to survive at the end of the War of the Four Emperors either. Half-Fool goes hard. It does go fucking hard, man. The Half-Fool. Oh, shit. Oh, look, we're doubling down on the title. The Half-Fool. Leonard's eyelids twitched as when he heard this title, he thought of his entity. As he thought of the entity above the gray fog for some baffling reason, he then forced himself to control himself and directed his thoughts to something else. Even from the description of the bystander, Mr. Dor was clearly one of the top existences among the King of Angels. It required two deities to join forces to banish the seal and seal him. There's a high chance that he was especially good at escaping, making it very difficult to kill. And back then, the battle situation was tense, so it was imperative to eliminate an enemy that possessed a threat as soon as possible. Old man is reminiscing about the past. He's feeling a little uneasy. He's actually said so much in one breath. Amidst his thoughts, Leonardo suddenly said, "I was left in Backland because they wish to use you to attract them on here." The wish-fulfilling of Palazar's tone vanished as he clicked his tongue. "Who made this guess? I don't think it's you." He's like, "You're not smart enough to make this guess." "Who made this guess? I don't think it's you. However, it's not that bad that you know how to use your own resources to probe for the truth. This is something I've been very familiar with ever since I joined the Nighthawks." Leonardo replied inwardly but didn't say a word. Palazras continued, "I guess that too. To be honest, your ex-colleague's relationship with Evernight really confused me. If it wasn't for how familiar the concealment forces that appeared that date was, I wouldn't have dared to make such a guess. With Zaratul and I in Backland, Amon will arrive soon. It truly is a perfect triangle of balance." "What do you mean? The concealment focuses used to deal with Amon from the Evernight domain?" "No, Mr. Dor. Does this point that there is a certain level of cooperation between Mr. Fool and the goddess? Or is it that the faith of some higher-ups in the church is actually in Mr. Fool?" Leonardo suddenly felt a strong sense of confusion and puzzlement regarding his position in the grand scheme of things. Seeing that Palas was also quite confused, he converged his thoughts and didn't ask any questions regarding this. He frowned and said, "Two Sequence 1 angels and a king of angels, will this bring about a devastating disaster to Backland?" He remembered that Amon was a terrifying existence that could kill countless people silently and could even live happily as his victim. Using this as a reference, Zartul, who was in a neighboring pathway, definitely possesses similarly terrifying powers. If he and Amon were to clash, half of Backland or the entirety of Backland could become the capital of death or the capital of bizarreness. That's fucking wild. The capital of death or the capital of bizarreness. Palazaros laughed and said, balance also means that everyone will be restrained. Besides, it's very likely that Amon wouldn't let his true body enter Backland. At most, he will send a large number of avatars over. After all, the possibility of divine descent by Evernight doesn't mean the storm or steam can't. What do you mean? Leonard acutely grasped the key point in old man's words. Zoros' tone suddenly became more relaxed. Regardless of whether it's because of the war or for other reasons, Evernight is likely unable to interfere with the matters on the ground at the moment. Otherwise, why would she need to lure Amon over to form a balance? She directly set up a trap, and who knows, she might be able to capture Zaratul or scare the cowardly seer away. Did something happen to the goddess? Leonard suddenly turned nervous. The slightly aged voice replied, it might not be a bad thing, and it might not be a good thing. Without waiting for Leonard to ask further, Zoros sighed again. Amon was attracted to Backland by me. What about Zaratul? What about me? I think Zaratul is also here because of you, and you're in Backland because of me. You, he, me, we. It's all a circle. We're all here. It's all a circle of inevitability as to why we're all here. Okay. It can't be the effect of the law of convergence of the bionic characteristics, right? That's not necessarily true. Palas' tone turned a little stern. Most of the time, the law of bionic characteristics convergence will not directly show in place where you can sense it. Most of the time, it will influence fate. Just like when you board a train, you suddenly feel the scenery along the way is beautiful and will get more of the train in advance, resulting in entering the small city. This might be... What's up? Hello. Thank you for joining. This might be because there are... Sorry, we didn't announce anything. This might be because there are beyonders or mystical items or neighboring pathways around you. In other words, there are other things in the Backland that attracts you and Zaratul here, and through you, my fate is affected, causing me to be arranged by the church to stay in Backland most of the time. Leonard asks an enlightenment, hoping to gain confidence. Palazaros slowly sighed and said, that possibility can't be ruled out. Above the gray fog soon flipped to a diary page of value, November 21st. As I had too many preparations in the other stages, I obtained that chaotic and terrifying grade 0 sealed artifact even faster than I imagined. And then, after a difficult battle with some help, I finally restored it to a pure Sequence 1 beyond a characteristic. In a few more days, the ritual will be completed. I should be able to advance the Sequence 1 Knowledge Emperor of the Mystery Prior Pathway. That's sick. No, wait. Knowledge Emperor? Is that a title drop? We didn't know Sequence 1. Knowledge Emperor. Sequence 1 Knowledge Emperor, the Mystery Prior Pathway. November 26th, Sunny and Breezy. I know Sunny. He's from Shadow Slave. Sunny and Breezy. The ritual was very successful. I digested it thoughtfully, and my anchors were even more stable. There weren't many difficulties during the entire process. I'm already a Sequence 1 Angel, a Knowledge Emperor. Bernadette no longer had to worry about the influence of the Hidden Sage. She can abide by the words, do as you wish, but do not harm, and continue on this path. At the same time, the level of Angel on Sequence 1 means that I can gently resist the notice and corruption from the cosmos. I can head to the Crimson Moon and see what's happening there. Holy shit, dude. Evernight is at the moon. I can head to the Crimson Moon and see what... Dude, I'm pretty sure Evernight is like hiding in the moon. That has to be it. Regardless of whether Mr. Door is lying or not, everything points to the fact that the Crimson Moon is the key to the problem. If I wish to become a true deity, I have to figure out the reason. I'll make a preparation for another 3 more days before attempting to land on the moon. Fucking Neil Armstrong over here, dude. Before landing on the moon. That one small step, that's giant leap for mankind. Huh. Don't quote me on that. Oh, shit. That line went so hard, I think stream crashed for a sec, but I think we're back. Upon seeing this, Klein recalled the historical diary page of Rizzo. He began to suspect that it was written after the Emperor's landing on the moon. Oh, shit. So, quote him on that. So, he actually made it to the moon. Putting down the remaining unread diary pages, Klein began to use dream divination to recall the content he had read over the past year. He wanted to use the comparison to find clues to Rizzo's abnormal mental state. Not long after that, he saw a few lines of text in his dream. It was the last diary entry that was theoretically written by Rizzo. I'm unable to give an actual suggestion because I myself can't see the true faces of the 7 deities or those evil gods. This might be partly related to the second blasphemy slate and the ancient organization hides. Unfortunately, I only have a rough idea that there
there are hidden parts, and I'm unable to verify them. In this diary, the Emperor had even solemnly warned his friends to be careful of the moon. The dream suddenly shattered, and Klein snapped awake. There was an obvious look of fear in his eyes. He clearly remembered that a long time ago, Rizzo had confirmed that there was a hidden portion in the second blasphemy slate. There was a hidden portion. I need more on this, bro. I still don't get this second blasphemy slate. July 19th, the night of the blood moon. You know what's crazy? We're actually reading LOTM on the night of a real blood moon. That's crazy, dude. Mr. Doors answered, allow me to confirm one thing. In the ancient secret organization, the second blasphemy state I saw was incomplete. This the Emperor forgot. No, how could he have forgotten such an important matter? He only appeared a little extreme, and he didn't even have much of a problem. Why did this happen? Klein couldn't help but mutter to himself, silently having an inexplicable and terrifying feeling. The last diary entry, or rather the Emperor Rizzo who wrote the sentence, seemed to be another person. Oh, wow. Next chapter, 1105, is called The Key Diary Entry. Okay, so this is going to be a very meaty chapter. Let's keep reading, dude. Oh, shit's going to happen here. I can already feel it. All right, we're going to read 3 more. We got time for 3 more. I think we can make it. Yeah. We should be able to do 3 more chapters. No text yet, so we're good on time. Oh. Did we do a timestamp? Yes, we did. All right, we got timestamp. We're good. We're ready. All right, chapter 1105 is called The Key Diary Entry. Above the grayish-white that wasn't protruded at all, Klein silently sat on the end of the long model table like a stone statue that had existed for hundreds of thousands of years. Regarding the discovery he had just now, he felt a deep sense of fear from the bottom of his heart. He felt a chill rush out from the back of his head, spreading across his entire body, bringing with it obvious yet real shudders. It was as if he had witnessed a familiar friend become a stranger in a very short span of time. His actions were abnormal, as though he had been replaced by someone else. Of course, there was a clear and more direct analogy in this aspect. It would be Leonardo Mitchell coming to visit and discuss the matter regarding Palaceros, as a molecule is suddenly taken out and then put on? What? Could it be that the Emperor was unknowingly corrupted after his ascension to the Crimson Moon, and he didn't notice it at all? He suddenly didn't show any abnormalities, only through reminiscing about his past through his diary entries, analyzing his inner voice, and talking to himself with certain premonitions surface in his mind. Was about to finish the book in about 100 chapters. That's crazy, dude. I think we're like 300 away. We're like about 300 away. That's wild, dude. Damn. He finished volume 6 yesterday, huh, Clown Man? Fuck. We lost the race, but not the war. We still have COI. We gotta lock in for that. Without realizing it, he wasn't sure if this entity could be called a human. This truly is an extreme sense of horror. Klein slowly took a deep breath and forced himself to focus his attention on the diary page of Emperor Rizzo. Soon he discovered something wrong worth reading. July 28th, I attended the Ancient Secret Organization gathering once again. From the discussions among the members, I sensed a problem, which is I can't scroll down. That's my problem. There we go. Is it because I advanced too quickly that I'm relatively inexperienced? There are many things that I have never heard about before, just like how they mentioned about the corruption from the cosmos and underground. This is the first time I know of this existence. I wonder how many of them are he's or she's, apart from a minority of members. Most of them don't like other knowing their level. While others are communicating with each other, I ask old Mr. Hermes with a whisper. The fact that he just speaks directly to Hermes, that's wild. I ask old Mr. Hermes with a whisper, hoping to understand more about the corruption that stems from the cosmos and underground. Hermes told me that this isn't something I can come into contact with at my current level. I'm just learning about it alone will cause me to be corrupted. It's actually that scary. What could it be? I'm even more intrigued. The scarier, the more interested he is. The old mister later told me that the corruption that originates from the underground can be ignored because it will fade with time. A long time ago, in an era when the ancient gods were active, powerful creatures had attempted to resolve this problem completely. In the end, it made things worse and caused tremendous losses. Later, they gave up on the idea of directly exerting influence, and they switched focus to sealing the guarding it. From this day forth, although the accidents happen occasionally, it was stable overall. Today, even if there are no seals or guards, as long as no one comes close and tries to go deeper, there won't be any incidents or corruptions. What a surprising situation. It appears it doesn't require the protagonist of this era to resolve the problem. Old Mr. Hermes mentioned that the cosmos again and said that the situation there is more complicated, interesting, and more dangerous than I imagined. No shit. He said that even a Sequence 2 angel doesn't have much knowledge of the cosmos. At Sequence 2, you don't have much knowledge. They only have a general understanding of it. They aren't aware that apart from the dangers, there are too many other things. If it wasn't for the fact that he once knew an existence that was good at wandering the cosmos and learned plenty of matters from that person, he wouldn't be able to tell me all that. Damn. I was very curious, but I didn't hold much hope. When I asked about the existence who was adept at wandering the cosmos, old Mr. Hermes didn't hide the truth. He said that it was Mr. Dor Bethel Abraham. Look at that. Mr. Dor, I pretended not to know anything and asked about the person's level in a very casual tone. Hermes didn't answer directly. He only said in the fourth epoch, even angels and demigods would address each other by their names in private. Those who can make everyone address them by their titles are in a small minority, of which Mr. Dor was one of them. Aside from Evernight, Storm, Earth, and the other deities, is that so? Mr. Dor level really isn't low. He sounds strong as fuck. I'm curious to see how Bethel is gonna like play a key role towards the end of book 1. The corruption that stems from the underground will naturally fade with time. A road set that the Great Fog gives it a feeling that resembles that of an object from the underground. It hopes that I can explore the underground world after I return to my throne of divinity. As for Luca Brewster, he's certain that the higher sequences, the greater the danger the underground world will bring. Klein tapped the edge of the long model table with his fingers. He was increasingly puzzled about what was happening underground. Fortunately, Hermes' description of the state of the abandoned castle and the attitude of the Evernight goddess seemed to indicate that the corruption that stems from the underground would have naturally dissipated, leaving it alone for the best solution. Few, then I shall temporarily put aside my worries regarding the underground world. Hermes' words and the bronze door deep in the City of Miracles corroborate with each other. The Dragon of Imagination, Ankwald, had really tried to resolve the problems of the underground world, but ended up with a fear and trauma. From the looks of it, the greatest possibility from coming of the apocalypse is probably from the cosmos, and my current sequence doesn't qualify me to know of it. Amidst his thoughts, Klein sighed as he continued flipping through the diary in his hands. After reading a few pages, his eyes suddenly lit up and locked onto the pages. December 31st, the end of the year, is the most suitable time to make a resolution and start a new story. I've already thought of where the 8th secret mausoleum should be built. I'm just clueless about the last one. This has to be more covert than the 8 previous ones, or else it will be meaningless. After a long thought, I thought of a place. The nameless island where Grimm was buried. Of course, the abyss is only an option. However, I can't find a living devil in this area that I can enter, so I can't force them to become my citizens and help me build a mausoleum. Ordinary humans can't survive there, and even powerful beyonders will find it difficult to resist the corrosive properties of the abyss itself. Fuck, man, that's crazy. Regardless, the environment of the name's island seemed like a pretty good choice. The princess of abolition in the fourth epoch's understanding of citizens is too limited. The ruler of an emperor is only limited to humans and humanoid creatures. All living things should be my subjects. Damn, what the fuck? And there are many extraordinary creatures. One that nameless islands will not, with no intelligence. They have long worshipped and followed me. I can totally drive them into the building a secret mausoleum. When I wrote this, I suddenly recalled the experience because I dreamed of Grimm. I brought Edward, Benjamin, and the others back to this nameless island and discovered that those extraordinary creatures lived together in harmony. They were gathered together and holding a ritual, and amongst them was the deceased Grimm. I was indeed shocked back then. I felt a fear that I hadn't felt in a long time, and everything appeared extremely bizarre. At that time, William and Polly died. Only Edwards and Benjamin survived. If I hadn't already become powerful and controlled a grade 0 sealed artifact, everyone would have perished along with them. Damn. What's the Prince of Abolition? What do you mean? I don't know. Wait, what do you mean, what's the prince? Well, he's dead, that's for sure. The power of the effect of the nameless island. Wait, no. He didn't die. My bad. It was his other 2 companions. Beyond the creatures actually came from the cosmos, and those... Well, I'll tell you this. The Prince of Abolition is from... that is a video game title right there. Bizarre. If only someone can make sorcery out of it. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. If I hadn't become a powerful and controlled a grade 0 sealed artifact, everyone would have perished along with them. The power that affected the nameless island, the beyonder creatures, actually came from the cosmos, and those who were corrupted would return to the source after dying. Thankfully, the power from the cosmos could only project a small portion of it into the real world. I finally solved the problem and made the nameless island my secret base. Now it's time to use it. The fact that he makes that island a secret base, okay. Wait, who is it? Now I'm curious. Who was he again? The Prince of Abolition? I don't remember. After reading the diary, Klein didn't feel exhilarated like he had correctly guessed where Emperor Rosel's final mausoleum was. Instead, he frowned slightly. This was, on the other hand, because of the corruption caused by the cosmos had truly appeared in front of him. On the other hand, the nameless island wasn't that secretive. Other than the Emperor, there was also 2 survivors, Edwards and Benjamin, and didn't meet Rosel's requirements of complete secrecy. Before this, did Edwards and Benjamin pass away normally, resulting in them being unable to divulge any secrets. If someone could, I would personally call him Bizarre Sorcerer. sealed artifacts or beyond her powers, he could. Prince of Abolition is sequence 1 Black Emperor pathway. Oh, I thought you were talking about a person. You're right. Wait, that's sequence 1 Black Emperor. I thought it was like the title for a. I thought it was like an actual person. My bad. That Dunn Smith over here. After a moment of silence, Clinton flipped through the diary page again in search of the coordinates to the nameless island. My bad, Bedooning. That was engagement bait. What am I saying? However, he didn't see the corresponding content when he reached his last page. Instead, there was a diary entry that vaguely revealed some of Rozelle's thoughts in his later years. December 27th, I've been feeling uneasy recently because I have no confidence in what will happen next. I no longer yearn for help. I'm very satisfied if they can remain neutral. I have put myself in the most dangerous situation. This is an act of me taking initiative, but it's also a choice due to a lack of options. Sometimes I'm very confused. How did I end up like this? Was I too extreme, or was this the only thing I could do? No, at this point in time, I can't be confused anymore. Apart from the affecting my mindset and making them already slim chances or even slimmer, it is meaningless. Now that I've reached this point, I can only continue on. If I succeed, it will naturally be sunshine and rainbows. All my hopes are placed on one sentence. Life is possible by being in death's embrace. That's kind of scary. From the looks of it, the Emperor really chose the method of making use of one of the revivals after death to escape the madness and corruption. This is simply crazy. It's like he's playing a game of Russian roulette with all 6 chambers filled, hoping that one of the rounds misfires. People who don't like going to the extremes, or those who are good at coming up with all kinds of strange ideas, wouldn't consider viability of this method. Perhaps it's because the enemy can't guess that it might have given the Emperor silver chance of living. Klein leaned back into his chair as he silently sat in an ancient palace for a while. After he slowly recovered, he scattered his thoughts. He considered how to find the Nameless Island. I remember the person who visited the Nameless Island. Benjamin seemed to be from the Abraham family. This can be asked via Magician. Yeah, we got to talk to her teacher. Yes, I'll be meeting her soon. There's no need to specifically get the fool to pass the message. I'll get Queen Mystic to ask the descendant of Edwards, Williams, and Polly. This would be more suitable. With this in mind, he surveyed the area and sighed before disappearing above the gray fog. I can see Rozelle coming back at the end of this volume. I can see that happening. Chapter 1106 is called Making Contact. With Rozelle? Nah, it's too early for that. It is way too fucking early for making contact with Rozelle. That ain't gonna happen. Come on. Or will it? 33 minutes. And also, once I end this stream and I'm ready, and before I head out, I'm going to schedule streams for the next week. I'm gonna see if I can do 7 scheduled streams. I don't know if that's possible, but I'm gonna see if I can make that work. All right, next chapter. I'm gonna see if I think I might be able to make it work. I think I can actually schedule. Can I schedule 7 streams? I've scheduled 2 streams, but I don't know if I can schedule 7. All right, let me update this before I forget. I'm gonna see. And then I'll go back. We're gonna have so many delays. No, we're not. No delays. No fucking delays. 0 delays. I promise you. If I can do Monday, Friday, only 5 chapters. Think of the XP farming too. It's gonna be fun. If I can, if you allow me to only do 5 chapters, like 5 strict chapters, Monday to Friday, I think I can do it, because one day is entirely just editing the React. Like, that's it. So probably Friday, I'm gonna do the React right away, and I'm gonna read the 5 chapters and end stream right away, so I can watch the episode, react it, and have it up right away. Out of all the commenters, I alone am the farming one. We'll see. We'll see. Now that we're trying to schedule 1 week's worth of live streams, we'll see what happens. All right, chapter 1106, Making Contact. Man, this reminds me of First Contact. You guys should watch that movie. Returning to the real world, Klein immediately took out a pen and paper and wrote a short letter. Investigate the nameless island which led to the deaths of Grimm, Willem, and Polly. This can be done through the descendants of Edwards, Benjamin, Abraham, and the descendants of the 3 deceased. This was a letter to Queen Mystic Bernadette, so Klein didn't write the reason. He believed that she would understand what this meant. After folding the letter, Klein casually found a candle and began the summoning ritual. After completing the setup, he placed the letter on the altar, took 2 steps back, and recited in ancient Hermes, I summon in my divine name, an invisible creature that roams the upper realms, a strange spiritual body that is friendly to humans, a messenger that belongs solely to Bernadette Gustave. This is going to be sick. The moment he said that, Klein's spiritual perception was triggered. He instinctively activated his spirit vision with a mere thought. However, he didn't see anything. Then he discovered that the letter placed on the altar had disappeared. Oh, so we actually don't see the messenger. Queen Mystic's messenger is very special. Next time, I'll switch to using my spirit body threads vision. Klein was stunned for a second before he sighed inwardly. Oh, wow, we actually didn't see it. Okay. In the evening, under the illumination of the street lamps that lit up one after another, a carriage drove to the intersection of the Backland Bridge area and Eastboro and stopped by the side of the streets. Wearing a long dress and a dark cloak, Force paid the fare of the 3 soli before alighting from the rental carriage. She walked slowly along the shadows of the street, preparing to make a large detour to escape from her imaginary stalker. At the end of the previous tarot gathering, she had swiftly overcome her laziness, packed up, and went out to visit her former teacher, classmates, and colleagues. As for the reason, there was no need for a special reason. It was very normal to care about friends and acquaintances after an air raid. And the reason why it was in last week was because, in my eyes, of the ordinary citizens, the situation in Backland was especially tense. There could be a new round of attacks at any moment, so everyone naturally tried their best not to leave the house. During the visit, Forrest had originally planned on diverting the topic onto the strange tales at the hospital, but to her surprise, there was no need for her to do so at all. Her former teacher, classmates, and colleagues would occasionally chat about such matters on their own accord after some ideal chatter, making one convinced that such illusions happened at every hospital. No, Forrest knew that it was an illusion. She inexplicably felt horrified, suspecting that she would have nightmares at night. I don't have to make any major changes at all, as long as the patient's miraculous recoveries are changed to them having their physical wounds healed, only to them have them go bonkers. It would make for an excellent horror story. Furthermore, it would happen in a city that everyone is familiar with, and also in the hospital that people often come into contact with in the city, but exuded a terrifying atmosphere. It will result in perfect immersion. I can almost foresee the other best-selling novels about to be born. I just don't know if I can write this genre well. I think she can pull it off. The only problem is that this story will lack sufficient emotion. Oh my god, I just figured out COI. I didn't figure out COI, but I can see in COI there's going to be a book that Forge wrote called The Fool, right? Like, there's going to be a book called The Fool, right? And it's going to be like the entire story of Klein, because we know the MC is different in book 2. That's all I know, and I don't want to know more, but that sounds kind of hype. I can see that happening. Sorry, my fanfic mind is going a little crazy over here. I'm like, ooh, she's going to be a good writer in the future, I'll tell you that much. She's going to be a best-selling author again in volume 2. I mean, in book 2. Unless there's like a big-ass time skip. We'll see. Wait, hold up. I'm thinking out loud too much. Hold up. Damn easy, unlock the entire COI. Oh, hold up. LOTM is a book inside a book. Yes, exactly. It's a book within a book. We're like breaking fourth wall here. It's gonna be good. The only problem is that this story will lack sufficient emotion. A female patient passionately kissing a face that's covered in mushrooms and weeds. Isn't that way too outlandish? We can make that work. Force walked as she thought, entering a creative state of mind. At this moment, her vision blurred. She saw a figure walk out from the shadows in front of her where the gas lamps couldn't illuminate. The figure wore a black trench coat and half-top hat. He had a deep-set face with cold facial features. Apart from his gold-rimmed glasses, he looked identical to the crazy adventurer of the 5 Seas, Gerben Sparrow. Although Force knew that Mr. World wouldn't hunt her and was her to fulfill the contract, she couldn't help but tense up. It was as though she had met her strictest teacher from back in her old school days. Good evening. Her footsteps slowed down, but she still continued moving forward and greeted him. Klein nodded without a word. He turned around and walked into a secluded alley to the side. The gas lamps inside were already damaged, so it was dark. Despite the dark environment, Force similarly didn't say a word. She lowered her head slightly and followed behind. Gerben Sparrow at an adequate pace. When reached the depths of an alley, Klein looked around and said in a deep voice, "Help me ask your teacher if he knows of this person, Benjamin Abraham. If he knows him, I want all the information and all the text pictures he had left behind." Okay. Forrest was nervously waiting for Mr. World to teleport her somewhere else, but she never expected him to mention something else for no reason. She nearly failed to react. She didn't ask why and quickly nodded in agreement, as though she couldn't wait to do it. Then she took a deep breath and continued waiting for Gerben Sparrow to approach her, grabbed her shoulders, and begin teleporting. But after a few seconds, nothing happened. Force looked up in shock, only to see Mr. World still standing in front of her. Looking at her, she then heard him say in a deep voice, "Write it now." Write it now. Force didn't ask why. She subconsciously said, "I didn't bring any paper and pen, envelope, or stamp with me." Before she could finish her sentence, the 4 items were thrown at her. Force caught the items and took a few steps out. Using the Gantt lamps at the end of the alley, which opened up to the roads and the hard wall, she quickly wrote the letter to her teacher, Dorian Gray Abraham. With both hands in his pocket, Klein waited patiently without any signs of impatience. In fact, he had long been lurking around Miss Magician without showing himself. According to the address Force provided, he had been secretly monitoring her from the moment she left home in the afternoon. His monitoring was done by getting his marionettes to pray to the sea god Kelvatua from time to time, while his actual body stayed above the great fog, using the prayer light dots to observe the situation around the magician. And he sees everything through them. Oh, that's cool. With the help of his true vision, Klein was currently certain that Zaratul hadn't targeted Miss Magician, thus it was safe to make contact with her. After knowing that Miss Magician had met Zaratul's marionette, could he be at ease, be daring enough to meet her and take her traveling? Now he could be certain that Zaratul had been attracted by the Abraham family sealed artifact or the Saint of Secrets Botus. As for mere Sequence 6, like the magician, she wasn't worthy of notice, hence she wasn't exposed. After a few minutes later, Force finished writing. She used a sticky herbal powder she carried with her to seal the envelope and pasted the stamp. Do I throw it into the mailbox now? Force glanced at the cover of the letter with her teacher's address and the real name and asked hesitantly. She felt that she had to do it herself. She couldn't hand it over to the world, or it might bring in danger to her teacher. Of course, if Germansbro insisted, Force felt that there was nothing she could do. Even if she tore the letter apart, there was still a possibility of her being hypnotized or having her spirit channeled. Klein nodded indescribably. Return after you're done posting it. Force let out a sigh of relief. Turning around, she ran towards the street and found the mailbox. After finishing all of this, she returned to the dark alley. Without waiting for Germansbro to speak, she handed over the fountain pen and the remaining 2 stamps. She very quickly said one was enough. Klein gave Miss Magician a look before he took the stamp and pen and calmly said, "This means that your teacher residence is less than 100 kilometers from Backland." That's pretty close. Is it the dragon fight still your favorite? I think it's still. I think it's one of my favorite fights. The fantasy fight, well, Volume 4 had, I think, Volume 4 is my favorite fight, but, like, the Grizel fight was, like, easily top 5, or, like, top 3. It was a really good fight. Forrest's expression froze. What's the big deal? I also know that your teacher lives in Prince Harbor, and there's a high chance that he hasn't moved away yet. As for why I gave you 3 stamp tickets, of course it was intentional. Klein muttered to himself before taking a few steps forward to stand in front of Miss Magician. He then reached out his left hand that was wearing a translucent glove and grabbed the lady's shoulder. Force subconsciously lowered her head again. The surrounding colors immediately became saturated in layers while countless indescribable figure flashed. When the things and colors she saw returned to normal, Force instinctively raised her head to thank him. However, German Sparrow had already disappeared. Force sized up her surroundings in a daze and realized that she was standing in an empty corner. In front of her was a door and a din, and the smell of alcohol were emitted from beyond the door. Force pulled out her cloak and walked out of the door with a hint of fear, only to see many men dressed as pirates. They had scimitars and guns either hanging or lodging by the waist while drinking hard liquor. Oh shit, I just scrolled down too much. Hold up. I scrolled down to the end. While drinking hard liquor. I scrolled down way too much. One sec. While drinking hard liquor. I lost my place. Fuck. Found my place. While drinking hard liquor, they discovered the strengths of the fleets of the face-sick and low in high spirits. Quite a number of beautifully dressed women were amongst them like dancing butterflies. She was wearing a long, dark, colored cloak in Backland style. Her brown hair was long and slightly curled up. She had a rather mature temperature, but her expression of fear made it seem like Forrest was a lamb that had barged into a wolf pack. It was disharmonious and eye-catching, and it was quite attractive the attention of many. She felt a little familiar with those who people had said to her. It was as if they were part of a language branch that she had learned, but she couldn't understand them immediately. Where am I? What am I doing? Who are you? As Forrest was at a loss of a plump man squeezed over and said in the broken Loanese, 10 solely one night. Forrest had been involved in many of the Beyonder circles over the years. Although she didn't know where she was, she knew very well what kind of situation she was in. The light in her eyes flickered strangely before they converged into one point. An indescribable aura emitted from her body, making the people around her subconsciously avoid her gaze. This was the authority of a judge, a qualitative change in the ability of an arbiter. Berserk Sea, Theros Island. Control F? Yeah, my bad. The Nits hid in the shadows, watching the intelligence peddler Bart's in the... Oh, wait, now we switched to the Nits. Oh, shit, so he's watching. Oh, wait, no, wait, we switched point of views. Now we're in the Berserk Sea, Therosi Island. The Nits hid in the shadows, watching the intelligence peddler in a serious manner. I just realized this shirt fits me so tight now. Oh man, this shirt gotta go away. This is one tie-dye shirt now, but it's good. It's easier to breathe in it. All right, last chapter for today. Let me do my timestamp. I just read Wiz. What do you say? Let me do my timestamp first. 43, 42. Relax. Oh damn! I wonder why I felt deja vu. I remember being for Wiz stream of these chapters. Oh really? Hey, how long ago did Wiz read these chapters? By the way, how long ago was that? Hold up. Let me try and do math. I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna shower, get ready, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Set up the next weeks of streams, blah blah blah, i.e. etc. I'm gonna have 30 minutes of spare time. I can record 30 minutes of Shadow Slave, and then upload that and make that go public at midnight, or a little bit earlier. I think that can work. I might be able to squeeze in 30 minutes of Shadow Slave. All right, so that should be fun. And then I still keep to the once a week. Even though I wasn't able to do it this week since I had to cancel. I think I canceled on Tuesday, right? All right. Chapter 1107 is called Relax. As a hunter who had Shadow Cloak 3 weeks ago. Well, yo, help me do math right now. How many chapters do I have left until the finale? I think Milosh said it, but I think he said the last chapter is 1150. Well, without rounding, I want to know like the exact number if it actually is 1150. Chapter 1107 is called Relax. As a hunter who had Shadow Cloak, the Nyx's hiding and monitoring abilities were always pretty good. Back then, he had even helped Grim and Sparrow lay an ambush for Steel Mavedi. What's up, dude? What's up, Lee? Hey, guess you need to work out more? Hi, Easy. Guess you need to work out more? I know. Well, this was an old shirt, so it fits me kind of tight. Maybe 68? What? I thought you said the last chapter. What? Oh, shit. We can make it work. Back then, he had even helped Gurman Sparrow lay an ambush for Stu Mavedi. At this moment, he didn't show any traces of himself, but he felt a little bored. He was eager for Anderson to switch with him as soon as possible. When will such a life end? Vice Admiral Element, hurry up and appear. No, not now. It's better to wait until Anderson arrives. The Nits did some introspection and rationally ended his prayer. Oh, no, sorry. Oh, thank you. Oh, no, sorry. Okay. Woo! I thought it was around the 50s. He was worried that the Pirate Admiral at Vice Admiral Element Tracy's level would discover that he was hiding in the dark and he lacked the courage and confidence to deal with her. Of course, if he wore the boxing glove 50, I'm Googling. Oh, thank you. Of course, if he wore the boxing glove, everything would have been a problem. As long as he made a decision fast enough, fear and apprehension wouldn't be able to catch up to him. You seemed very troubled. Suddenly, a voice rang beside the Nits' ears. The Nits jumped out of the shadows in shock as an orange flame quickly formed in his hand. At the same moment, he cast his gaze at the source of the voice. He saw Anderson hiding in the woods. There were given vines stuck on his head that seemed to meld with his environment. Yeah, sorry for the confusion. Okay, so it is okay. We'll be done by Sunday. For sure. Dog shit. It was unknown if the Nits was cursing Anderson or himself. After venting his anger, he asked, "Why did you come?" 2 minutes ago, Anderson replied with a smile. "You hid well. I didn't manage to find you immediately, so I followed your hiding habits and casually asked you a question." The Nits was momentarily unsure if he should be proud or angry. I'd be angry. He asked with mixed feelings, "If I had remained calm just now, would you have failed to discover me?" Yes. In theory, Anderson said with a smile, completely unfazed, but as the experienced hunter, that can't only be one way. Just as the Nits was about to ask what other solutions there were, he suddenly saw Bartz extinguish the candle and prepare to sleep. Minutes later, the figure of intelligence peddler Bartz appeared on the window out by the window in the darkness. With a nimble leap, he landed in the shadows outside the house. That was where the Nits had been hiding. Having re-entered the shadows, he was almost stepped on by his target. Bartz walked out towards the sea under the cover of the shadows, dogshit. Only then did the Nits appear, giving Bartz the middle finger. Anderson also left the woods as he pulled out the branches from his head. He smiled at the Nits. "I think we'll hit the jackpot tonight." The Nits glanced at the strongest hunter in the fog sea and nodded vigorously. "I hope it's Vice Admiral Element." He used his shadows that were everywhere at night and immediately took the lead in following the intelligence peddler along with Anderson. They maintained a perfectly adequate distance, not too stupid. Anderson observed for a moment before chuckling. The Nit scoffed inwardly but didn't respond. He knew very well that this was an occasion where they could afford to mock and provoke each other. 15 minutes later, Bartz arrived at the beach and stood there, staring at the dark blue sea under the crimson moonlight. He didn't wait too long. In the darkness of the sea, a huge outline appeared, gradually forming a black ship with a white flag fluttered in the air. On the flag, 2 ghostly blue flames burned with a pitch black skull, the Black Death. Oh shit, he's here, dude. Vice Admiral Ailment Tracy's flagship, Black Death. The Nits instantly became excited. If not for his shadow form, his pupils definitely would have dilated in a bid to draw in more light to see every detail of the ship. He subconsciously moved the distance, frowned, hoping to confirm if Vice Admiral Ailment Tracy was on the ship. If the gigantic sailboat approached, the 2 people in the shadows could see sailors busy on the deck. Is there a dock for docking here, or will they just give Bart a dinghy and get him to row himself over? Just as these thoughts flashed through... Oh, my stomach is rumbling. I don't know if I'm hungry. Just as these thoughts flashed through the Nits' mind, he heard Anderson say with a suppressed voice, "Leave." The Nit's greatest strength was that he was good at following the instructions of an authoritative figure. Be it in front of Edwina Edwards or German Sparrow, he would follow the instructions to a T, apart from grumbling at most. At the moment, although his face was filled with puzzlement, with the intention to retort and persist in his own plans, he still used the shadows to silently leave the beach. When they could no longer see the Black Death and could only hear the vague crashing of the waves, did the Nits leave the shadows and appear in the forest? He hurriedly asked, "Aren't we going to confirm if Vice Admiral Ailment is aboard?" I assume Vice Admiral Ailment would be aboard. Anderson sized up the Nits and chuckled. Never underestimate a beyonder who's very famous at sea, but has lived to this day. Every pirate admiral is a target you must be careful against. You must never be careless. The Nits subconsciously replied, "Admiral Blood Senor, Admiral Hell Ludwil." The Nits is the good little boy. I wish he was stronger, man. I wish he had his, like, moments to shine, you know? Like, in Grozzo's travels, I was kind of sad that he was just kind of just hiding in the cave. I was really hoping he'd come out for at least, like, one hit to, like, impress Edwina. They were all pirates who were easily killed by particular crazy adventure. Anderson was momentarily lost for words to rebuke the Nits with. After a few seconds, he said, "So it's Vice Admiral Ailment Tracy worth paying more attention to, considering how she would survive German Sparrow's attack." After careful thought, the Nits inexplicably felt that Anderson's words made sense. Just as he was about to speak, his throat suddenly felt itchy and coughed. After coughing for a few times, his thoughts began to swell in pain, and he could taste metal. Taste metal? "Look, I told you to be careful." Anderson clenched his fists and held them in his mouth. He coughed lightly, but it wasn't serious as the Nits. Tracy must have spread all kinds of ailments around the ship. Once again approaching it, they'll quickly be infected with it and be exposed. With this wide of a range, it means that she has completely... Oh, shit, she digested it? She has completely digested the Sequence 5 potion and has a chance to advance into Sequence 4. So she's going to be a demigod. Oh, shit. Oh, it's going to be good, dude. Why couldn't it be that she had already advanced to Sequence 4 as... Wait, that's a good question. Why couldn't it be that she had already advanced to Sequence 4 as he was far away from the source of the infection? The Nits quickly recovered and instinctively retorted, "If that were the case, you are either on the Black Death or you would have to become a victim of the Black Death disease and are on the death bed." Anderson half turned his body and cast his gaze towards the obstructed beach. Tracy must have used some sort of trick. It's likely that she would only maintain the target area of ailments to be in front and ignore the use of some sort of trick. It's likely that she only maintained the target area of the ailments to be at the front of the ignored other directions. By using the wind propagates the ailments spread. Wow, I cannot read. My brain's shutting down. She is able to affect the people of the shore. I am not in streamer mode right now. I apologize. With that said, Anderson clapped his hands and smiled again. "Isn't our encounter proof that Vice Admiral Ailment is on the ship? You can inform German Sparrow." The Nits didn't hesitate any further. He merely set up a ritual and summoned the messenger. Using the excuse of guarding the area to prevent any accidents, Anderson walked up out of the forest. I am so sorry. I gotta step out for 1 sec. I gotta use the bathroom. I am so sorry. Give me 1 sec. I desperately need to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Oh, I'm back. Oh man, I'm back. I'm back. All right, let's finish this chapter before we have to head out and schedule streams. Mad 3 subs makes fanfics. Well, you know what? We need to make more fanfics. Well, we need to ask ChatGPT to make some funny ass, weird ass fanfics. I think that's funny. I'm just gonna say, man, TMI. But I was fighting for my life, but we're good. I think we're good. All right, let's finish this chapter before we head out. I'm not recording, right? All right, King. I think it's called King of Secrets. We'll watch that. All right. I found my place. Let's finish this chapter with a bang. It was 3 a.m. in Backland, Eastboro. Apart from the moonlight and starlight, it was pitch black. What? I have to put my finger here on the mouse so I can scroll. Wearing cotton pajamas and sleeping cap with a protective hairnet, Klein. He's wearing a hairnet? Wearing cotton pajamas and a sleeping cat with a protective hairnet, Klein sat on the bed and received the letter from Renette Tanker without asking anything. I'm sorry, I've never pictured Klein wearing a hairnet. Opening the letter, he calmly got out of bed and took out a pen from his pocket and wrote on the back of the letter, "Return to Port City and await further instructions." After watching Miss Messenger leave, he calmly changed into a shirt, put on his vest, tied his bow tie, and put on his black trench coat. He then took 4 steps counterclockwise and went above the gray fog, using the top hat spirit pendulum to divine the danger level of this operation. He received almost no revelations. Without any hesitation, he returned to the real world and stood in front of the mirror. He picked up his half-top hat and wore it above his head. On the bunk bed in the room outside, Konis and Uni opened their eyes. In an empty room on the black desk, a figure quickly outlined itself. He had black hair, brown eyes with cold and hard facial features. He was none other than German Sparrow. Oh, he on the shit. Okay. Oh, we can't watch it because of spoilers for EO. I don't know what's EOS. Never mind. So I guess it'll be spoilers. In an empty room of the black death, a figure quickly outlined itself, and it was German Sparrow. Under the dim crimson moonlight, Klein swept his gaze and casually found a chair to sit down as he admired the sea vista outside. In the captain's cabin, one level away, Vice Admiral Element Tracy, who was dressed in white blouse and beige pants, watched Bart leave the room in disgust. He pulled out his collar out of reflex, and his expression turned livid. She had just learned that Blazing the Nets and Strongest Hunter Anderson had been staying in Thuriel Island recently without any unknown motives. EOS equal end of series. Oh, I was like, I don't know what's EOS. I was thinking of like, I was thinking of NES. No, not NES. What's that one game? That one Japanese game, Phantasy Star. I was thinking of Phantasy Star Online. They're all related to for some reason. They're all related to German Sparrow. Is that fellow looking for me? Tracy narrowed her eyes as she walked towards the window without any hesitation. She was prepared to instruct the sailor on deck to steer the ship away from the waters. At this moment, her thoughts suddenly turned sluggish. It was as if she had sunk into a state where she knew she was in a dream, but wasn't unable to extract them no matter how hard she struggled. Not good. Black flames abruptly emerged from the surface of Tracy's body, attempting to burn away any external influences. However, when the flames were initially able to flow smoothly, they later began to turn intermediate as they kept flaring to the ground like withered petals. A strong sense of despair surged within Tracy as her thoughts turned increasingly slower. Desperate, she quickly condensed a layer of crystalline ice around her body, retracted the invisible threads towards her, and wrapped herself in layers. At that moment, the door to the captain's cabin creaked open. Wearing a silk top half and black trench coat, German Sparrow walked in. Damn, that's so menacing, dude. Then he politely closed the door. Oh, at least that's sweet. With a light cracking sound, the entire captain's cabin instantly became extremely quiet. The sound of crashing waves was no longer persistent, as though he had been separated from the real world. As for the invisible spiders, webs, and entangled Tracy, they seemed to misunderstand the order that was given as they tightly bound Vice Admiral Element up, preventing her from moving or using her beyond her powers. Distortion. As her thoughts returned to normal, her brain no longer felt frozen. Oh shit, we're almost done with the chapter. What do you want to do? She couldn't hide her fear as she watched Gerben Sparrow slowly approach. What she couldn't understand was why the other party would give up on the attempt to make a marionette, even though she had clearly lost her ability to resist. Huh. What do you want to do? She couldn't hide her fear. Now she's scared of him? That's crazy. Oh, the fucking tables turned, dude. That is such a wild, like... In Volume 3, we couldn't take her out, and now she's scared of him, dude. She couldn't hide her fear as she watched German Sparrow slowly approach.
What she couldn't understand was why the other party would give up on the attempt to make a marionette, even though she had clearly lost her ability to resist. The reason why Klein did so was because he was worried the Vice Admiral Element and the Demoness of White were related by blood. Okay. This way, Tracy's death would cause a demigod who was good at hexes to sense something and take measures ahead of time. Okay. So it's like a safe... It's like a... Okay. So we don't want to take her out because then Katrina would know. Pele would know. Tap, tap, tap. Klein stopped in front of the Demoness. Oh shit, what a fucking cliffhanger. He just like he stops in front of her. That's so fucking menacing, dude. That's crazy. All right, let's do overall thoughts before I forget. Yeah, we're gonna end it here. Only 5 chapters. 5 chapters for the next 5 chapters Monday to Friday, and then we're gonna split the remaining chapters on Saturday and Sunday. 56 minutes 12 seconds. Finishing and 7. Let me, instead of overall thoughts, finishing volume 5. Finishing volume 5, 7 days. All right. I agree. I agree. All right. All right, we're gonna stop right here. We're only gonna do 5. We're gonna do 5 hard chapters. And then we're going to do 5 chapters for the next 5 days. We're going to do 5 chapters Monday to Friday. So that's going to bring us to 25 chapters. So 25 chapters minus 42. I can't do math. That's like 22 chapters left, 23 chapters left. I think we'll be able to, yeah. And then we're going to split those last 20-ish chapters between Saturday and Sunday. So I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're going to do it. Man, one day we're probably gonna read like 4 to 3 chapters. I don't know, man. I think Friday we're only gonna stream for like 1 hour max. That way I can get the final episode reaction out the way. And I assume it's gonna be a little bit lengthy because we're gonna be talking more. No, I'll make that a separate video, like my overall thoughts on volume 1, on season 1, or something like that. Wonder where Wiz and Easy are reading A Lord of the Mysteries the official way. Quote unquote in asterisks the official way. I don't know. I think Wiz is reading it the same way as me. So don't forget Romero for spoiling Tomo for me. Oh, Wiz. Romero spoiled you? Romero spoiled you? Username? Oh, that sucks, dude. Hey man, I feel your pain. I've been spoiled. I've spoiled people. I accidentally. I've been spoiled accidentally. It's okay. It happens. It happens. All right. Point is, I like where we're going. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen with Vice Admiral Element Tracy now. Next chapter. I guess we're gonna find out. He did one of the biggest things. Oh, he gave you one of the biggest spoilers. Damn, man, not me. You see, when I accidentally spoiled Wiz, I stopped myself quickly. I stopped myself super quickly. But we'll see. It's chill. It's chill. All right. That being said, we're gonna end it there. We're gonna come back tomorrow, same time. Oh, wow. We're gonna come back tomorrow, exactly 24 hours from now. Exactly 24 hours from now, we're gonna come back and we're gonna be doing that. Every 24 hours at 7 p.m. Pacific. No. At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think that's the most popular American time zone. So every day, Monday to Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be streaming Monday to Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday is gonna be like an 8-hour stream. Like we're gonna stream 8 hours prior to that, like at 9 a.m., 10 a.m. We're going to be streaming before 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I think we'll be good. That being said, ow, 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 my necklace, ow. It like got stuck right here. That being said, peace. Have an amazing day, and we'll be back very, very soon. All right, later, guys. I need to reread Toma. First of all, I don't know what's Toma. Well, you guys let me know. All right, I'm going to see you guys soon, though, okay? Yeah, we're gonna head out. I have to leave in an hour, so I'm gonna try, get ready, schedule all these streams for the next week, and see if I can squeeze in like a quick Shadow Slave read through. I'm gonna let you guys cut Cuttlefish other. Oh, you guys did tell me about that. Okay, the other. Oh shit, that sounds bad, dude. That sounds like a big spoiler. All right, I'm gonna let you go though. Later, guys. I gotta head out soon. All right, later.